Salancik's paper, Commitment is Too Easy, is one of the most important articles we'll read in the course, along with the Thomas and Griffin article on social information, the Kuznets and Posner chapters on modeling the way. This is really one of the third of that kind of collection of things that are core, the collection of ideas that are core to what we're talking about in this course. Salancik explains how our beliefs are influenced by our behavior. This is very contrary to how most people see themselves, how they see cognition and behavior happening. We think of people have some beliefs, they process opportunity, and they behave based on an evaluation of the opportunity consistent with their beliefs. But what Salancik explains is that much of human understanding of the world is based on a process of adjusting beliefs to meet the behaviors that we exhibit. We're going to have another reading that's going to talk about this as rationalization, and that is a pretty good idea, although rationalization has too much of a connotation of making excuses, and that's really not what commitment is about. As you'll see in the article, commitment is first very much much stronger process when our beliefs are ill-formed or non-existent, and so we see how we behave starts to inform beliefs that we really haven't thought through. They're incomplete, and we look at our own behavior, and we start to develop beliefs as a result of that. This idea is extremely important for effective leadership. By engaging people's behavior, we impact their beliefs. This is fundamental to how socialization processes work, how culture building works, how these are techniques we use in persuasion, in decision making in organization. So the ideas that are in this article are going to come up again and again, and it's really worth spending some time with this. In some ways, the article makes it all sound a little too easy, and also the ideas may be a little too simple. But this is extremely important material, and I encourage you to spend some time really understanding it. I want you to look for and pay close attention to the features of behavior that lead to belief formation, and think about how these relate to attribution. Ultimately, belief formation occurs when we basically have to self-attribute behavior. So what are the things that that drive that? I think it's very important to think through how do we elicit the behaviors that lead to commitment. So how do we get behavior in the first place? I'm going to just give you a hint that part of the way we get it is we simply ask for it. But we have to ask I think, in productive ways. I think you also need to think a lot about, we're talking about commitment as a process. What is commitment in terms of the SIP model? What's the process and what is it that's produced? Salancik says very specifically what a commitment is. I'd like you to make that linkage with the SIP model. I think it's also important, and it'll be very important as we move forward from this material on to more advanced topics, of this notion that commitment can be negative. People can be committed to negative courses of action, unproductive courses of action. They can have beliefs that are a negative, and commitment as a belief is this core idea. And so we want to understand how the negative commitments are generated, and the negative commitments are really with respect to the behavior we want from the person. And so think about that as well. He does talk about that in the article.